Hi, and welcome to today's session. I am Gilles Brito. I'm a psychotherapist, coach, and hypnotist that lives and works in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. And the purpose of today is to look at this thing called EMDR, which stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing. Now, EMDR has been around for a little while, and the purpose of the presentation today is to give you a little bit better understanding of kind of the ins and outs with regards to questions that clients have had for me in looking at possibly using this technique with regards to trauma or to phobias. So in this initial slide, you can see a little bit of the process that takes place. Now, a lot of people really do think that it's just about the eye movement, but the eye movement, as you can see here, only happens in the later parts of the segment. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of the setup before we get to EMDR. So let's jump right in. So some of the questions is, where does EMDR come from? Like, how did it start? Well, it originated with a lady called Francine Shapiro in the late 1980s, around 1988. And what Francine was, she was going through some personal issues and some health issues. And she discovered that when she thought about the worst of the issue and moved her eyes in a certain pattern, it seemed to minimize the intensity of the emotions she was feeling prior to that movement. And so she thought, well, maybe it's just by occurrence. So she continued to measure it over time. And since that time, she's published hundreds, if not thousands, of articles on the effectiveness of EMDR, especially in the U.S. with war veterans. So she's been the kind of the front runner for the use of EMDR with post-traumatic stress, especially with veterans. So the second question is really, how does it work? Now, one of the theories around EMDR is that when we go through our natural days, the process of sleep, and more specifically rapid eye movements during sleep, helps us sort through those negative emotions and the things that we may struggle during the day. Now, it is believed that trauma disrupts that pattern, the pattern of rapid eye movements. And so it lingers within the individual. In fact, you may know someone or you yourself have gone through a difficult time, and usually the thing that is mostly sacrificed is sleep, especially around anxiety, worry, phobias. Sleep is usually the first thing that's sacrificed. I know with a lot of my works with first responders, paramedic, firefighters, and police, that's usually the first symptom. Oftentimes with that comes self-medication, like with alcohol, so that they just keep saying, like, I wish I could just sleep. But it seems like the pattern is interrupted when a person goes through trauma, meaning the self-regulatory way that the body naturally deals with stress and trauma is interrupted. So the next question is really, well, then how does it work? What's the process? As you saw that initial slide, part of the process is going through a detailed history, seeing what kinds of maybe traumas, we call them feeder memories, kind of impact that situation. So what could that mean? That may mean that, let's say a person had great difficulty giving a presentation today, but the feeder memory may be something that happened when they were a lot younger in their life. So the process really involves a 9-step process where we go through history, and then we go through a process called TISIS. So we set a target, we create an image, we look at what the beliefs that that person has with regards to the event, like maybe in that example I gave with giving a presentation is people are going to laugh at me, people are going to think that I'm stupid, whatever cognition that the person may have about that significant event. Next is, what are the emotions that you feel? When you think of that target specifically, what are the emotions that you feel? So for some people, they feel a sense of panic, they feel a heaviness in their chest, they feel their heart racing. So while this is going on, I'm taking pretty detailed notes as to what the person is processing. Not processing yet, sorry, what they are eliciting for me. And so And then the last thing is the senses. So what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you touch? What do you smell? So we bring in all the elements into the picture. Now, prior to the desensitization, we also want to create a place of safety and a container. So when the person, let's say, is not able to deal with the entirety of the issue in a session, we're able to kind of put it away till we can address it at another time. And then comes the desensitization. The desensitization, for a lot of people, it's just following the movement of the hand back and forth in front of the face. So we would get a client to track fingers side to side. Now, there's a lot of different ways too. Some people use tactile ways of stimulation. So there's a right and a left pulsar, and that's really it. It's not an electrical pulse. It's just a little vibration that goes right hand, left hand. So that can be the stimulation. I know in our office, to create consistency, and we didn't want to create issues with shoulders and elbow pain because we see 7-8 clients in a day. We use a light track, and the light track allows the eyes to follow the lights consistently back and forth. One of the reasons why I like doing that is because it's a very consistent protocol, whether a person comes at 9:30 in the morning or comes at 4:30 in the afternoon. Their session is not affected by my level of fatigue. They can kind of still continue to process. The light also allows me to keep track of what the person is processing. So as they go through it, we kind of give the metaphor that it's like you're going on a train and these events are happening outside of you. And as we go through the train, it comes to a stop, and then what do you notice? Most of the time, that's my feedback that I give to a client. It's just really, what are you noticing now? So if they say, I'm feeling angry, the feedback that I often give is, okay, well, go with that, stay with that, and follow the lights. So this could go on for the entire length of session. Really, that process too is so that the person can make a connection to that event and understand it from a different perspective. In doing that, they're able to reduce the level of anxiety or the level of connection to the event and create a different meaning. Next question is, how long is a session? Well, in my office, my sessions are always around 55 minutes, 50 to 55 minutes. And so it's no different with EMDR. I know some practitioners have sessions that are an hour and a half to 2 hours. But within the core of my practice, I usually have clients booked pretty back-to-back. So we usually do it about 50 minutes. And at the end of the desensitization process, or at the end of the processing, we always create a place of safety, a place of calm. Now, if we manage to get through the issue in that session, we always look at kind of resource building and also establishing new behaviors and new outcomes as we look into the future. So again, I'd ask you to kind of reference back that initial slide in this video so you can kind of see the 4-step process that's elicited there. So the last question is really how long to find resolution. It really depends on the issue. I know I've had clients with simple fears and phobias, closer to a phobia than a fear, and it was resolved in one session. I also do different techniques that are based on neurolinguistics programming, but we'll save that for another video. So it depends though. I've had clients that have several traumas, like first responders, over time. And so that may take 5, 6 or more sessions in order to find that peace of mind and quality of life. So I'm hoping that's been informative for you to get that first understanding as to how EMDR works. I'd love to hear from you, questions, comments that you may have specifically about this technique or any other questions that you may have in terms of dealing with anxiety and mental health concern. So with that, thanks so much for joining me today. I wish you health, happiness, and a wonderful day.